Get ready to dive into the comic book realm, where heroes rise and villains take the helm. We're here to dissect the stories and the art. Our source material, we tear the panels apart.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Source Material Comics Podcast. We are here tonight to see if our brains are still together, because Grant Morrison can destroy every mental faculty you have if he really wants to.
Did I tell you, after reading Happy, I was convinced Grant Morrison was Garth Ennis?
Well, it's funny because the artist for Happy was the guy that did The Boys.
Right.
So
It was
that's probably why
you
you did that.
As it turns out, when I mentioned it to the AI, it was like, as it turns out, Grant Morrison and Garth Ennis fucking hate each other, and they're two sides of the same coin. One for me.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, we are doing a focus tonight on Grant Morrison, and we've got 3 books here. So this has got to be something, Mark, that you went through and just said, give me something to talk about, Fancy, and that kind of ties together. Is that right? Or is this stuff that's been sitting on your shelf and you want to talk about?
These are all freshly bought this past week before I read them. No, what happened was I have comic strip with Evan Bevins, good to his mother.
He is.
Some language. And that's right. And I have the Wikipedia list of comics that have been adapted into television and movies. And we're slowly going through every last one of them. We did a bunch this year. We just did Polar over the weekend. We did Nimona. We've did The Surrogates. Like years ago, there was another like Netflix one that we did. But we've done a bunch. And some of the ones on that list were not made into movies. They were made into television shows. One of which was Happy.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about last couple of years, I would go through this list over and over again, looking for stuff to do podcasts. And I looked at Happy because I'd never heard of it. I'd never watched it on Sci-Fi. I didn't know what it was. So I looked at it, and as it turns out, the voice of Happy the Horse is Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. So, like, why are we doing legit? Because I like Jim Jeffries. Why do I want to talk about Happy? Because I like Patton Oswalt. So I was like, okay, well, this doesn't really fit strictly into the comic strip thing because we tend to not do books to shows necessarily. So it's just, it becomes too cumbersome. It's too much to talk about, especially if the show lasts more than one season.
Right, right.
Which Happy is 2 seasons, I believe.
2.
So I was like, okay, a couple of months ahead of when we're supposed to do Happy, I'll discuss the book with Jesse, and then we'll be prepared to talk about the show on a TV party. I was like, all right, that takes care of Happy, but that's only like 5-6 issues. So I looked and saw who wrote Happy. It was Grant Morrison. I'm like, all right, what else did he do that we haven't already done? We did All-Star Superman already.
Yep.
We've done a whole bunch of
Doom Patrol.
I don't want to do anything that's Marvel or DC related. What has he done? I like a nice finished book. I don't want it attached to anything else. I don't want to do homework with comic book reading. Just what's out there that is a one and done. And 2 of the one and dones that I found were Nameless, which I knew nothing about, and Joe the Barbarian, which I knew nothing about. Why are we doing this? Because I wanted to talk about Happy because I like Patton Oswalt.
Okay, all right. Let's start there then.
It's downhill from here.
It should have some clout if somebody's going to try and option it for a television show or whatever.
Sure.
I will say that I watched the first season of Happy and never read the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did you land on Happy?
There was the concept. I think I ended up seeing something about either I probably saw like a trailer or some type of ad for it.
Did you watch a lot of Sci-Fi Network?
No, I mean, I enjoy what I could, but this was back in 2000. Gosh, I don't know when it was. It wasn't too long ago. I want to say it was on Netflix. And
maybe after it's run on Sci-Fi, but that's where it originally was aired.
Netflix had picked it up to show what that first season was. I saw the trailer, and it's Christopher Maloney, which the wife had no problem watching him. I mean,
yeah, he's on that sexy Law and Order SVU show.
That's right.
You should make her watch Oz.
Oz? Okay.
Yeah.
Is he in that or something?
Oh, yeah, he's one of the Nazis, but he's totally gay for Beecher.
Oh,
yeah,
well.
Christopher Maloney sexually assaulting Beecher for every season of that show. It's great.
Yeah. I turned around and loved the first season of Happy, and I have not watched the second one yet. So,
okay.
So I was excited about actually reading where that concept came from. 4-issue series came out in 2012. Writer Grant Morrison, art Darick Robertson. Like I said, if you've read The Boys, you're going to recognize this art style. This is hyper violent. I think we opened this book with some type of sexual gratification being given.
All of the dialogue is just the word fuck. Very Wire-esque.
Yeah. Colored by Richard P. Clark and lettered by Simon Boland. So I'm going to give you this plot synopsis and then we'll dive into what we thought of the book. Nick Sachs, a corrupt, drug-addicted ex-cop turned hitman, botches a job and ends up on the run from the mob while bleeding out in a filthy, snow-choked city. After collapsing, he wakes up in a hospital only to be confronted by Happy, a tiny, relentlessly cheerful blue cartoon horse who claims to be the imaginary friend of a kidnapped girl named Haley. Happy insists that only Nick can rescue her from a deranged child predator dressed as Santa, pushing the cynical hitman into an unwanted quest for redemption. As Sachs fights off mob assassins, evades cops, and begrudgingly follows this bizarre hallucination turned compass, he's dragged deeper into a nightmare of corruption and Christmas-themed horror, ultimately forcing him to confront the last shreds of humanity that he has left. So there you go. That's a good idea of what you get in Happy.
Yeah, I accidentally picked a Christmas book for December.
Is what's funny. This definitely lands in it, although...
I land, you mean crashed.
Be prepared because this is hyper violent, hyper vulgar, and it's done well. We'll talk about tonal collision, where we have this imaginary blue friend Happy that pops up and is trying to get this guy Nick Sachs to help find Haley, who has been abducted. For me, I like this type of setup for this book. The fact that we have this crime noir part of it. We've got this gritty, vulgar, violent setting, and our character, Nick Sachs, is really a piece of crap. Not very likable at first.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he wakes up and he sees this very positive, imaginary friend that is begging him to be a good guy and help find this young girl. There's a lot of humor in watching those two things being juxtaposed against each other. I kind of dug that. That was definitely what drew me to the show first off. And then because the show is violent as well, and it keeps up with what we get here. So the book had me at go. I didn't feel the book was Go ahead.
Did I send you the note that I sent to Fancy that I said that this is basically Jiminy Cricket motivates the Punisher to save a child?
I don't remember. You probably did. That might be the one I didn't read.
Well, hang on. I think
that's hilarious.
Said I legit cracked the robot up.
Mm.
It's like AIs don't necessarily laugh, but that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. I can't remember if it was that or something else I said about fucking Nameless. Can't we talk about that? But
oh boy,
yeah, I like this book a lot. This has been one of my favorite things that we've read all year. It's a redemptive story. Whether or not Happy is real is immaterial. This entity, whether it's his conscience, it's his sense of guilt, whatever, is trying to tell him without telling him, your daughter is in danger. And of all the bad things you've ever done, this will by far be the worst. This is the difference between you being saved and going to hell. And he's so lost. It's funny. I find myself in a very cynical, like I was telling Erica the other day, like a friend of mine in high school said, for a 16-year-old, you're about the most cynical person I know. That's like your defining trait. I have not gotten better with age. Pats, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I don't know how much you pay attention to what I refer to now as the NWO black and white chat versus the other one that Andrew started, which is the NWO.
So it's
Wolfpack.
Rainbow.
It's the NWO Wolfpack. Pat put the thing in there about Quentin Tarantino, and I said, if you're lucky, you live long enough to have enough money and enough of a nest egg that you can separate yourself from the rest of society, that you no longer need to negotiate or compromise, and you can just be honest, and that honesty becomes contempt. And I was like, but I didn't get there in my 70s. I got there in my 40s. So here's this guy. This is why I'm relating the two things. Here's this guy, and he's just hit that place of, I am filled with resentment and contempt, and that is my life's blood.
Yeah.
And I'm just living. I'm killing people to live. That's what I do. And I'm waiting to die. I don't want to kill myself, but doing what I do, I'll die soon enough, and that'll be fine with me. And then along comes Jiminy Cricket, the voice of conscience, that says, you were meant for something greater. You may only be meant for this one great thing, but that's enough. An innocent child is about to face a horrendous end, an unspeakably evil end, and only you can save her. What are you going to do? Which cave of terrible choices are you going to choose? And he ultimately, almost to the point where it's a little too late, but him and Happy get back together again, and he's able to save his daughter. And he doesn't realize it's his daughter until the very end of the story. Nick Sachs having that, oh my God, I almost, with my own apathy, resentment, and contempt for humanity, let my own daughter die.
Right.
I need to fix this. His whole demeanor changes. It's great. When he's out looking for Happy, he's like, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, and I need you again. I'm sorry I pushed you away. This is like the ultimate romantic narcissist relationship. I'm sorry I pushed you away. Please come back. I want to be better, It's like Uncle Scrooge. It's like, please, Spirit, I don't want to end up this way. I don't want to end up in a shallow grave with nobody around to love me. Help me fix it. Spirit! I just named like 20 different references. That's why I like this book. Any book that has me gushing with remembering a reference or relating to different things, that's what gets me. If anyone's ever watched a source material with me and Jesse, there's the books I have nothing to say. And then there's books like this one where Jesse's just like, I guess I don't have to do the show anymore. Mark's going to talk for the next 2 hours.
No more notes needed.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I think it's great. My only complaint about it is it's only 4 issues, but boy, does it take him for fucking ever to get to the point where he pushed Happy away, being too negative.
Yeah.
Then it almost has to wrap things up rapidly. It's one of these movies where they waited too long to get to Act 3, and Act 3's 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, you're right. At the beginning, Nick is very resistant. He thinks he has done something to his brain, or he possibly died, and now he's seeing things. He goes to the poker game, and Happy is giving him the cards.
He wins the poker game because Happy helps him cheat.
Right. That would be all I needed. But this guy is such a bag of crap that he's continued to be like, leave me alone. Why should I care? Why should I care? Why should I care?
Right.
A lot of his character, to me, I wanted to know what turned him into this. Luckily, Grant Morrison does give us a little bit of what happened. He kind of explains he had, well, it was essentially the job. The job wore down on him. He would come home, and he had a very loving wife at first, and then the job wore him down. He started having an affair with his partner, and things snowballed and got out of control after that. It's one of those one bad day things, but this guy's bad day continued on and on. He could care less. He was probably waiting to die. I think he loses his job on the force, becomes the hitman, and he does that job pretty well. Did you enjoy the side story about, hey, I got a password for the rest of the money, and then here comes the rest of the hitman to try and figure out what this password was? Or were you more wrapped up in, okay, go save the girl?
Well, I think the story needed it because it needed more fleshing out. There needed to be another motivation for him to keep running. So it's as good as any other subplot. As long as there's motivation for another enemy to pursue our protagonist, I was fine with it. It didn't really matter what it was. And I certainly didn't think it was anything more interesting than any other one I've ever seen. There were 2 things I liked about this book. I like the use of the unreliable narrator. Because until you get to the card game, you really don't know if he's hallucinating or not.
Right.
And even after the card game, you don't know what this really is. Because Grant Morrison really handles the relationship between him and Harry, the relationship with him and his own sanity, the relationship with him and his conscience really well. It is a shame he'll go on to do Nameless, but we'll get there. I feel like he had a very clear concept of what this was supposed to be, and I think it was handled deftly. I really enjoyed this book. I was definitely like, yay, he saves his daughter. Yay, he drops the evil Santa, saves all the children. But it also reminds me, now that I'm saying that out loud, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones, not in it to save the kids. Like, just kind of, he's out for fortune and glory. He's running from the Chinese. It's a whole thing. He lands in this village, and they're like, our children were trafficked by a cult. Please help. And he's like, all righty. There's no fortune and glory to be had with Temple of Doom. It's a moral crusade.
Right.
It is the right thing to do, and he's not a shitty person. So he saves the children. Same thing here. He finally gets to the point where he's like, it's the right thing to do. I will save the children. And then it's only after that he realizes, wait a minute. Boy, is it a good thing I had a conscience buried deep inside all of my resentment and contempt, because one of these kids is my daughter.
Yeah.
What a depressing and tragic book it would have been had he not saved the kid.
Well, yeah, if it wasn't for Happy being a thing, he would have never known, and he would have died probably at some horrific way. Would you say that at the end of this he is dead?
Probably. The other thing I was going to say is I don't think they gave Happy very much. Happy's got one thing going on, and it's a little grating to me. It was just like, we gotta save Haley. You're the only one. Come on, let's go.
What else is he going to do, though? I mean, if she dies, he dies. Happy dies as well. I mean, I would be like this is my one hope.
You created a winged horse unicorn thing that looks like a Tex Avery cartoon, and then you don't let it do zany stuff. I wanted him to hit somebody with a mallet. It's essentially he's talking to a goat. Basically, his partner is a ghost. The ghost can't interact with the world. The ghost can't do anything. But here's the thing. You've already got this sarcastic, sardonic character. You can't have the imaginary friend be that too. So the imaginary friend has to be
the exact opposite.
And we know from watching professional wrestling, they're not the most interesting people.
Right.
So Nick Sachs is interesting, but you would think on its face, who's more interesting? The winged horse or the fucking Nazi from Oz? And then you sit down to read it or watch the show, presumably, and the horse is not that interesting.
Yeah. I think obviously for me, it's the contrast between the two. This is Nick's one last hurrah where he may be able to redeem himself. The thing that could possibly do that is this very annoyingly positive blue horse. Did you pick up on any vibes about a commentary about Christmas? I know I didn't, but apparently there is a commentary running through this thing about Christmas and commercialism.
Well, I'm not interested in Grant Morrison's opinion. That man has no cachet with me. What is it with all of these comic book writers needing to corrupt like symbols of purity? Like, I know I'm bitter, resentful, and contemptuous of humanity, but Jesus Christ, I still like Santa. I still like symbols of purity. Meanwhile, every comic book writer, take anything good and nice in this world and ruin it. Fuck it.
Mel,
drag it through the mud.
That's what I expected from Grant Morrison. He would take something like that and turn it on its nose.
And if it was Garth Ennis, I would agree with you. This is the guy that gave us The Boys and Preacher that has you and Evan Bevins, like Heavens to Betsy. Like, oh my, this whole is violent and sexual for me. Meanwhile, Grant Morrison's the guy that gave us Doom Patrol. He's a weirdo. He's not necessarily cynical. So it's weird that he wrote a very cynical book.
Okay. I think the strongest thing that worked for me here was the hopelessness surrounding Nick and the idea that this one act can still lead to redemption in some way.
But I think that's his point, is that in that sense, it's a very Christian book. No matter how bad you are, no matter how awful things get, if you seek forgiveness, you can be redeemed. Well, that is the whole Catholic Christian mythology. The confessional. Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I wouldn't say Nick was seeking forgiveness. I think he was more, my feeling was he was through actions redeeming himself. You know,
sure. I don't think he starts off seeking absolution. It's kind of forced on him. And when I'm really focusing on the bit where he's trying to look for Happy in the snow.
Okay.
And that's kind of his confessional moment. That's him kneeling in the confessional booth and talking to God through a priest, saying, absolve me of my sins. I want to be right. I want to be good.
All right. Any other thoughts here on Happy? It sounds like you enjoyed it. Best one, you said?
It's one of the best books that we read this year.
Thanks for joining us. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.